everyone. Today it's a big pleasure. We've got the dynasty of Brian and Bill here, the part of Harold Duggin's family. Brian is the son of, Bill is the son-in-law. Welcome, guys.
Thanks, Lee.
Thanks, Lee.
It's been a long time coming because of COVID, but anyway,
for sure.
we've got here in the beautiful surrounds of Billy's backyard.
And we're lucky to get the big oak down here, so it's all right.
Yeah, and we've both got sore noggins.
Well, I decided to take a face plant in the driveway yesterday, so it was pretty good.
Seismic
Bugger pig as well.
Okay.
So, Bags, if you're watching, what we talked about the other day.
Very good. Now, we need to start, get a few things off the table first. Naught.
Yeah.
Where did Naught come from?
Oh, it goes back to her. I actually got it from Spider, Neil Hamill.
Right.
And it was short for Naughty.
Okay.
So, and Naught just stuck.
Okay.
And that was, when I was with Trevor Staples and Peter Cawthorne and whatever, and Spider always called me Naught.
Okay.
So that's where, and it stuck.
It stuck.
It sort of, I grew me batting into it.
Yeah.
So it all worked out well.
Yeah. And Billy, you married Brian's sister, Gail.
Yep.
Brian, when Billy first came home
Yep.
to Harold and Isabel,
Yes.
what did they say?
They choose wise. They don't choose too wisely these years. You know, Gail should be a bit more fussy, but you know, they were happy. They were happy enough. And Dad was happy because he was interested in footy and cricket.
Yeah.
And and that sort of, as the years went on, he ended up down at Preston with us.
He did. He did. Now, Brian, your journey started at Preston just after you were born, because
Pretty much, yeah. Started walking. Yeah.
Harold was involved as a player, and then on the committee, and Isabel was on the ladies' committee.
Yep.
Both became life members, of course. Tracing back through the records, your first game in the seniors was 69-70.
Yeah, out of under 16s, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. In the, I'm pretty sure it would have been the fifths back then with Dion Johnson and Keith Rattray Wood.
Yes.
And then, progressing through to the seconds and in and out from time to time, and then, seriously taking up keeping and getting to the ones eventually.
Yeah, the rest is history. Bill, you got to the club in 78, 79.
Yeah.
Previous to that, you played whereabouts?
It started when I was about 12, and I started playing for a Methodist church comp.
Right.
And graduated from there, and we ended up forming a work comp, and I played in the mercantile comp. It was crap. Absolute crap. I mean, you'd make hundreds and take a handful of bloody wickets and ridiculous figures like 8 for 5 and 8 for 6. And Harold actually said to me one day, he goes, "What are you playing that crap for?" And Brian came down and watched the game with a few of the boys, and he said, "Get out of this
You're
stuff.
wasting your time.
You're wasting your time." So that ended up leading me to Preston.
Yeah.
So more than happy.
And you came down bowling left-hand darts.
Yeah, well, I didn't think I'd dance, but I suppose.
Well, they weren't turning.
And hit the ball pretty hard.
Yeah.
Particularly on the leg side.
Yeah.
Yep. And Brian, you started off primarily as a batter.
Yeah.
But then progressed into keeping.
When the runs dried up. It could seem the only way of advancing.
Yeah.
But we come through and then got a bit serious about keeping and coming through the force with Jimmy Lawrence and then into the thirds with Steve Hillam, who was a terrific mentor for young blokes going through to the seconds. You know, he was hard, and he was probably more hard on you if he knew you hadn't filled your potential for the day. You know, if you did give 100% and get beat, well, that's it. But if you haven't, and it was really a very good footy going forward.
And you played under Dreaded or Knackers?
Yes, in the seconds, and later on Bags in the seconds. I went when I was playing with Knackers. I had 2 games, I think, in the first under Ross McKenzie.
Yes.
And didn't keep well. It was a big eye opener for me. The scratch zipping them in, and Eddie and Gary Moore and that, and I was very fumbly and didn't went back to the seconds. Didn't come back for 2 years, but that was good. I knew what the standard was and what I needed to do.
Well, you went on and played 123 games in the first.
Later on, yeah.
206 dismissals, so that's pretty
Settled in eventually.
Yes,
Yeah.
settled in. You played a premiership with the Twos?
Yes, yeah. 80, 81 with Mick Ryan.
Yeah.
And Dale Carpenter, who I ended up playing a lot of cricket with.
Yeah.
And Trevor Staples was in that side, and a lot of players that had gone through, and Paul Jones, who was a terrific player.
He was.
Knackers played. It was a terrific side. We just, Wayne McLaughlin.
It was probably a side that would beat some of the
for sure.
ordinary first level sides.
Well, Graham Winter in that final made 100.
Yeah.
And 62 not out in the second innings, on a wet deck.
Yeah. A great side, a lot of
Good
depth.
crew.
Yeah. Billy, we were talking before, we don't know whether you've played 170, 180, 190 games, but you played a lot of games over about 15 years.
Yep.
2 premierships.
Yep.
In consecutive years, 87?
87, 88, 88, 89.
Yeah. What do you remember about those 2 games, just as a bit of an overview? Yeah.
I think the first one was started with the washout at Kew, the semi-final, which we won. And then we played our arch enemies, Brunswick, in the next one, and give them a kick in the arse. And then the grand final against Altona, which was a ball terror of a game, and I think we made 260 odd, and they got about 240 odd, and it was a fantastic game. And the second one was probably the standout of my career. That one, the game against Frankston. Piss and rain for virtually 2 days. We played batted the first day, and never been batted the first day, and I think Wacker got 40 out of 90 or something like that, and then they were 2 for 50 overnight. We thought, we're in dire straits here. And then it rained bloody nearly all night and all that, and we met up the next day, and we thought, this is all right, we're all sitting up in the grandstand smiling and all that type of stuff, and they did a terrific job to get the wicket, you wouldn't even call it playable, but to get it right, and to win by 1 run. And it was absolutely fantastic, and having no supporters down there, because the ones were playing at home, and they were being washed out, and they thought, well, everyone's you'd never had mobiles in those days or anything like that. And then, we progressed on to the grand final, and we played Mount Waverley, and they were cock a hoop the whole way. They were giving it to us from the moment we walked into the place, and all that. We hadn't made less than 220 all year, and all that type of stuff, and you guys fell in last game, and So I think we made 220 odd, something like that. I think Jeff King and Shiraz, I think, got runs in that game, and well, I bet Wacker. No, I think it was Shiraz, and then we bowled them out for about 90. And Shane O'Brien got 7 for 25, about 23, and just absolutely dominated. So they were the standouts of my career, and well, we didn't win the championship that year, but I mean, we all thought we won it the game before anyway. So
the club's been fantastic over the years with the strength of its second side. A lot of success. I think there was a premiership in the 50s, another one in the 60s, the 80s, and then through the 80s and the 90s was unbelievable. And the great thing is we're going to have a reunion, I think on the 4th of December, celebrating all of the seconds premierships.
Yeah,
So,
very good.
we're looking for anyone who participated in that or who was involved in any way to sort of come down to Croydon
fantastic.
Street. So it will be fantastic.
Right.
Now, both of you also captained teams. Brian, you captained the seconds for a couple of years.
2 years, yep.
Yep, yep. What did you enjoy most about that?
Well, the first year we had a terrific year. We made the grand final. That was pretty enjoyable. Unfortunately, didn't win it, but yeah, as I said, we had success in the first year. The second year, I had a lot of. We had blokes like Aaron Weir and Shane Day, Shane Baker, all coming through, and it was really good having those guys come through, sprinkled with blokes like Peter Cawthorne and Darren Oliver, and guys like that. It was enjoyable cricket for sure.
Yeah.
And Billy was playing with us at that stage.
Yeah, that's
We
good.
could do.
Billy, you had 2 years captaining the threes.
Yep, threes,
Yep. Who did you see come through?
There's a lot of young kids early on, like Robbie Cocking.
Yeah.
Of course, Paul Rozonica, Gerard Dowling. They're probably the standouts from it all there. But
You take all the credit for Gerard's development. Yeah.
I don't think anybody can take that. He just came
Paul
with the green
Hepburn,
soda.
did Paul Hepburn play with you?
No.
No.
2 Harvey boys.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
And Harvey boys the first year, they were funny. And when they show up, Tom had trouble finding where the greens were and ever apologetic throughout the whole bloody game. Yeah, that's all I'm worried about. Yeah. So, but they were terrific. They were really good. They're good kids because they wanted to learn, they wanted to play, and they wanted to know what was going
enjoyed
on.
cricket.
Yeah. Over the years, your lifetime involvement down there, who did you actually like playing with? Look, everyone was a great guy, but who did you?
At any level?
Yeah.
Oh, a lot of characters there. Ronnie Brenton was pretty interesting every Saturday. There was always something happening, and he was good. I loved playing with Killer.
Yeah.
I thought he was great with you, and especially with you when I was keeping. And if I'd lunge to the left and take a ball, no problem. I'd just hear in my ear, feet, move your feet, and he'd just on your back. Just them, Peter Cawthorne, Phil Jobley.
Yeah.
Guys like that. Every team had a character in it.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed playing with Billy.
Yeah.
Remarkably.
And so much so that we had a
Game I sent. It was a wet deck, and we sent Billy in as a night watchman the night before, and the following week was wet.
Thank you.
We had a delayed start, and Billy got to about 40, and everyone was excited. Billy got to 50. I started getting nervous. And he got to about 60, and I sent Gus out to run him out. And he got to 70 on, and I said, if he gets to 80, I'm going to declare, because I couldn't stand it. But anyway, fortunately, he got out at about 78. But certainly swung the bat that day towards the end of his career. There were a number of characters, back in the early days, blokes like Phil Sterling and, Brian Barnes, Chuka Fowler, and they were all baseball people, Dave Norris, he coached me in baseball and cricket, and we ended up going to England as a group together, They were terrific.
Yeah.